such rotten weather. I think I'll stay home today. No, they're depending on me.
Understanding responsibility and accepting responsibility. These are the most basic of all job skills. Every job has a variety of responsibilities and its own particular problems. If we look at some people in a variety of job situations, we'll be able to see some of the problems they have with job responsibility.
Well, there's Diane. She's early. She demonstrates a responsible attitude. There's Connie. She's on time. She's efficient, does a good job, and she always follows through. A boss has authority and responsibility. Now, I'm responsible to the company, and I'm responsible to and for the people in my department. Now, if Connie makes a mistake in her work and it leaves this department, it's my fault. If she does a good job, that's to her credit. And a good job makes me look good to my boss. Bob isn't here yet. I hope he realizes how important it is to finish that report today.
Each employee is responsible for performing certain duties, and usually that depends upon getting help from others. The supervisor can't get his work done if the people in his department don't do theirs.
Glad you could make it in today.
The weather's sure lousy. I've been having some car trouble.
Me too. That's why I take the train. Seriously, though, why don't you leave a little bit earlier if you're driving? Or take the train.
You're right. I'll get started earlier.
I've been going over this report this morning. Notice I made a few changes. But basically, you did a very good job. Solid conclusions. However, a few of the numbers are changed. You notice here on page 17.
This looks like a typo. Maybe Connie was rushed.
Maybe so, but this report is your responsibility. Listen, check out the figures and make the changes. We'll go over it again after lunch.
Connie, would you help me check part of this report? It'll only take you a minute.
In this situation, Tom accepted responsibility for everything that went on in his department, including Bob's report. Tom depended on Bob. Bob also had to accept responsibility for the report, even though the errors may not have been his. Bob depended on Connie. She too accepted some responsibility for the report. All the people in a situation like this depend on each other to accept responsibilities. Now, let's take some of the same people, put them in different jobs, and create a new situation with some new problems. Sometimes people will take on more than their share of responsibility, and that too may cause problems. In this example, Tom and Bob both work at the same milling machine. Tom's responsibility is to read the blueprints and set up the machine. Bob's job is to operate the machine. But in this case, Tom is worried about Bob's performance. Because of this, he goes beyond his own responsibility. He takes on part of Bob's job, too. And this disturbs Bob.
It's my responsibility, you know. I'm supposed to work the machine.
I'm sorry, but I didn't mean to take it away from you. I was only trying to help. And you look, I don't know, you look kind of confused. It is a complicated job, and I felt responsible for getting it done right. It's not like I'm your boss or anything. You're right. You gotta learn it yourself.
Well,
If I goof, it'll be my fault. I guess it's time.
Problems can arise when people don't accept their responsibilities. But those who take more responsibility than they have authority for can also cause problems. Now let's shift our people to still a different situation.
Good morning, Diane.
Good morning, Mrs. Alvarez.
My, but you seem happy today.
Oh, but I am. That raise really helped. And I treated myself to a new outfit. See?
It's lovely. Remember when you started to work here?
Do I? I was terribly unsure of myself.
You had a good attitude, so I wasn't worried. You began on simple jobs at first, jobs that didn't require much responsibility. You proved you could handle those jobs, so a few days later you started selling.
I wasn't used to the cash register at first. I was always afraid I'd make a mistake.
No problem, you learned. You always knew when to stop and get help. A customer doesn't mind mistakes as long as you're curious and correct them immediately. I've been watching you, Diane. You have pleased our customers, and that pleases our boss. That's why your raise came through.
Thank you, Mrs. Alvarez. Good morning, sir.
Hi.
May I help you?
Diane has grown. She has grown occupationally in terms of how much others can depend upon her. She's learned new skills, developed new abilities, and she's grown personally in terms of self-confidence and satisfaction with her work.
I think I like this cutting board the best.
Good. We sell lots of these. I'll just remove the price tag. Will this be a charge or cash?
In cash. Is it all right if I pay by check?
Oh, certainly. I'll need some form of identification. A driver's license will be fine.
You know, I've never shopped here before, but I really like your little store.
Well, thank you. Would you like to open up a charge account with us?
Yeah, may come in handy. I think I will.
Well, I'll give you an application form.
Thank you.
The way people handle the responsibilities of their jobs determines how much personal satisfaction they'll get from their work. Let's look at one last situation which may reveal even broader effects of job responsibility.
There you are. Lots of people make it through. And once you have made it, you'll find that you've got a good career ahead of you. There are a lot of openings in this field. And Diane, I think you've chosen a good pharmacy school to go to. When I was in school, I always liked making up the old-fashioned compounds. You know, like headache powders. Say, did you ever hear of a turpentine stoop?
A turpentine stoop?
No, no kidding. Seriously, though, it's a good business. People in the community depend on us for medicine. They trust us. To keep this trust, we're responsible for keeping detailed records and keeping up to date on the latest pharmaceuticals. The drugstore sells merchandise, too. And our customers depend on us for supplying other things. People depend on us for our goods, services, and reputation. We, in turn, depend upon the community for customers. It's an interdependent situation. Well, enough philosophy. There's work to be done. Hey, Connie, when will those new pharmacy supplies be coming in?
It's today or tomorrow. I'll check the order book.
Interdependence. People working together, counting on each other. Each relies on the other to fulfill certain responsibilities.
Excuse me, miss. There seems to be some mistake here.
Is it about your prescription?
Well, yes. No. Well, it's my wife's prescription. So the last time I had these filled here, they were blue and yellow. This time I get them home, I noticed they're black and white. I wanted to check for my wife.
Well, you did the right thing. We'll have to check your doctor's prescription right away. Thank you, Mr. Baker, for bringing it back. I'll check with the pharmacist.
Let me see.
He's worried because the capsules were a different color last time.
It's tetracycline HCl, all right. I'll check the doctor's prescription. Yeah, here it is. Let's see. Tetracycline HCl, 250 milligram capsules. No mistake. Mr. Baker, this is the same medicine as before, but it comes from a different manufacturer. You see, different companies use different color codes for their capsules.
People depend on each other at work. Most jobs require interdependence. The ways in which you handle the responsibilities of your job will help determine how you get along with the people you work with, how well you succeed, and the personal rewards you'll get.